Hi, my name is Caleb Chambers, and I will be talking about Ebola virus and giving a characteristics profile on it for my virology class, Biology 445. So I hope you enjoy. This here is a picture taken of an Ebola virus. Um, Got this from the CDC, Center for Disease Control. It's about 970 nanometers long, which is about a 50th of the average width of human hair. So really tiny, as all viruses are. The virus itself, it was discovered in 1976 in two outbreaks, one of them in South Sudan and one of them in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Um, More famously, there was an outbreak in 2014 in West Africa that led to thousands of deaths, over 11,000 actually. Um, Yeah, you can see on the map there have been several outbreaks over the years throughout sub-Saharan Africa specifically, one in South Africa also. Um, at first, the disease that it caused was known as Ebola hemorrhagic fever. It's now just known as Ebola virus disease. Um, but yeah, there's some scientific words here that are used to classify um, the Ebola virus with its family and genus, which are both just words to classify it. Um, there are actually six different species of Ebola virus. Four of them, you can see on this map here, have um, caused different outbreaks in different areas of sub-Saharan Africa. So, how is this virus transmitted? Well, originally, it began with contact with infected animals, especially fruit bats and different species of primates. And so this is one of the primary ways that it can be transmitted. Um, Another way is direct human-to-human transmission. This includes body fluids, such as blood, vomit, and feces, but also just physical touch. Um, Another way would be indirect human transmission, such as contaminated objects like needles and medical equipment. Um, One interesting thing is that there have been shown to be cases of Ebola being spread through different kinds of burial ceremonies where there's physical touch of corpses. We don't really see this in the US, but there are cultures where this is a thing. And so that's been shown to spread Ebola in the past. Another is sexual transmission. If one of the people is infected. And another way is actually through breastfeeding. It can be spread from a mother to an infant through breast milk, Ebola can. So those are just different ways that it can be transmitted, disease. Now the symptoms of Ebola virus disease, there are many symptoms. Um, Initially, the most common symptoms would be fever, fatigue, muscle pain, headache, and sore throat. Some of the more serious symptoms include vomiting, diarrhea, rash, and bleeding, especially unexpected bleeding and uncontrollable bleeding in different spots of your body. Um, it has a pretty high fatality rate, actually, of 50 to 90%. Um, its incubation period is 2 to 21 days, which, if you don't know what incubation period means, that's how long it takes for the symptoms to appear. So it really varies. It could be pretty short, it could take weeks. You never know. It depends on the person, it depends on which species of Ebola virus you're exposed to. And actually, after recovery, there are symptoms that can linger for up to 2 years afterward. Um, yeah, so those are different symptoms that you can have from Ebola virus. Now, ways to prevent this. Proper hand washing is a big one. This includes, I think that goes along with this would be proper sterilization processes around, especially around infected people and um, areas that are exposed to Ebola virus. Avoiding contact with infected individuals, avoiding contact with infected body fluids, um, also indirect contact with contaminated needles and things of that sort should be avoided. But that could be avoided through sterilization processes that are good enough. Avoiding contact with infected or unknown animals, especially in areas that have been susceptible to outbreaks of Ebola in the past, such as areas of sub-Saharan Africa. Monitoring your own health is very important. Wearing proper PPE, which means proper personal protective equipment, so that includes masks and eye protection. And if you happen to be treating a patient with Ebola, that could mean more heavy duty protection, such as a suit. You could wear something like that. Raising awareness through community engagement is a big one, because this is probably the most important preventative measure, or at least one of them, because the more knowledge that a community that could potentially be susceptible to Ebola as an outbreak, the more knowledge they have about it, the more that they would strive to avoid having it in the first place, which would prevent outbreaks and decrease the risk of spreading the virus. And finally, receiving vaccination is another important one. There have been vaccines developed throughout the years for Ebola. Here are my references for what I've learned about Ebola virus. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. Um, I hope you learned something about Ebola. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.